I studied in a school in Kurla, Mumbai, and I had about 65 students studying with me in my same division, and about 150 others studying in the same class. At the end of this 25, 30 years of completing school education, we met again. And I found that very few of the students from my division or my class had really progressed in life. And all others, most others, were still living a mediocre life. An unsuccessful life, a mediocre life. I was one of the successful people in that group. If somebody comes to me and asks me this question, wonderful question, ye batao, what makes you, what differentiates you from the others? आपको बाकी लोगों के से अलग क्या ठहराता है? ऐसा क्या चीज है कि yet you are more successful than the others? Then I remember the Diwar dialogue, and the dialogue from Diwar. The Diwar picture says, मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, आपके पास क्या है? And immediately we have Shashi Kapoor saying, मेरे पास माँ है. Similarly, if somebody asks me, what did you have that made you successful in life? I will say, मेरे पास SKC के 58 principles hai. Yes, 58 principles which I got early in life from one organization called as MILT. These 58 principles are divided into 7 cards. Now we are discussing the first card. The first card is being discussed now, and in that first card we have already finished discussing 5 principles. Today we are going to discuss the 6th principle of the first card. We now call them as SKC principles. I got these principles. मुझे ये खजाना कब हाथ लगा? When I was very young. When I was about 23 years of age, मुझे खजाना हाथ लग गया. And इस खजाने के साथ, I lived by these 58 principles, and I made what I could do to myself. I succeeded in life. I became more influential. People loved me. I had more friends. Now, in the first card, it says 9 ways to make people like you. The 6th principle is, remember that a man's name to him is the sweetest and the most important in any language. I repeat, here comes the rule. Remember that a man's name to him is the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. Yes, ये 6th principle के बारे में अधिक जानकारी देने के लिए, to tell you more about the 6th principle, we have my trainer, one of the biggest trainers on India's motivational platform, Daniel Jacob for you.
Remember that a man's name is to him the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. Well, a man's name is to him the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. The reason is, if a person's name is pronounced rightly, the person likes you a lot, because everybody wants their name to be pronounced properly. If there is any distortion in the pronunciation, they feel offended. So therefore, take time to learn to pronounce people's name. There might be some names which might be very difficult for you. It is very important for you to learn from that person how to pronounce the name, and then when you pronounce the name, and that means when you take so much of interest in a name, that shows you're taking a lot of interest in that person as well. Remember that a man's name is to him the sweetest and the most important sound in any language.
Well, that was Daniel Jacob telling us more insights on this 6th principle, which says, remember that a man's name to him is the sweetest and most important in any language. Let me elaborate this a little more. जब भी हम होटल में जाते हैं, when you go to a restaurant to eat food, you might have seen, I always see people from other tables calling out for the waiter. And this is the way they call. Hey, shh, shh, hey, come here, shh. That waiter doesn't like them. What the first thing that I do when I visit a restaurant or a MACD, I look at the name tag, or if he doesn't have one, I'll always ask him, क्या नाम है आपका? And he says, sir, my name is Arvind, or my name is Khan, or my name is Shyam. Then I make it a point to remember that name. And every time, in between my dining, if I need something, I'll always call him by his name. I'll say, Shyam, and Shyam will come running to me because He likes me more. He likes me that I address him by Sham and not by shh, hey waiter, hey yaar. And he's not a hey or shoo for me, he's Sham for me. Now similarly, I have got many sub-staff working in my organization. Sub-staff, staff and sub-staff. Sub-staff are those people who are into the cleaning work or the peons. I will always try and know their names. Whenever they are appointed by the middle management, I will know their names. And whenever I have to ask them to point out something, I will never say कि प्यून को बुलाओ. I will say Indra auntie को बुलाओ. I will say Anita auntie को बुलाओ. The security at my gate will, every time there's a new person, I'll ask him his name. And believe me, and every time I call them by their name, instantaneously they like me. They say, "Oh, बड़े sir हैं, उनको भी मेरा नाम पता है." It is very important. Right from the sub-staff to the waiter to somebody big. Now I'll tell you more examples. When students come for the open day, when children walk in, I see teachers sitting in the classroom. I'll tell you what differentiates our school from any other school. Many parents have given testimony for this. When parents walk in with their children for the open day, and when the teacher looks at them and calls them by their name, the parents like it. The parents say, "Teacher ko mera bete ka naam malum hai." I see most of the schools where teachers address students by their roll number. Hey, roll number 102. Hey, roll number 506. Believe me, neither the student nor the parent likes it. It is like saying, "Kaidi number 304." Believe me, we need to know, as a teacher, we need to know our students' name and address them by their names. I'll always say, "Ananya, how are you?" I'll always call them by their names. Even now, when the online lectures go on, I am here sitting in my office and students are in their homes and students are there in Bihar and UP and Dubai and Delhi. And when I am conducting online class, I make it a point in the beginning of the lecture or at the end of the lecture to call them by their names. As many as I can. And believe me, all of them feel good about it. Whenever I say, "My darling Joshua, I am glad that you are here," and Joshua feels so empowered that sir has called me by my name. Believe me, it's very, very important. Now I'll tell you, my son, Shalton is a very rare name. He won the national award when he was young, when he was in 4th grade. I have got the video recording for this. He really worked hard through his school competition, zonal level, state level, and won the national award. And when he got the national award, that the comparer there announced, and the All India Budding Scientist Award goes to, she said, Charlatan Stanley Pinto. My son went on the stage. He received the award. But believe me, when he came down from the stage, from that day till today, every time he says, "Couldn't this auntie, couldn't this teacher, couldn't this madam have actually asked my name before spelling it out before the audience?" Yes, it is very, very important. Now, I was called for a function, for even a chief guest the other day to one of the institutes. The comparer read my introduction beautifully, introduced me in a very, very nice manner, told that I am a trustee of 4 schools, I am a trainer, I am a global speaker, I am a multi-industrial linguist, and used sophisticated words to introduce me. But at the end of the day, at the end of the introduction, he said, "Friends, students, I take immense pleasure in calling upon the stage Stanley Pinto, sir. Dr. Stanley Pinto." I didn't like that. I am not Stanley Pinto. My name is Stanley Pinto. And I want people to call me by my name perfectly. And each one of you, I'm sure, want your name to be spelled and pronounced properly. So I'll sum up what I said. The rule says, remember that a man's name to him is the sweetest and most important in any language. आप चाहे कोई भाषा में बात कर रहे हो, उसका नाम आपको सही तरह से लेना है. चाहे वो वेटर हो, चाहे वॉचमैन हो, चाहे आपकी प्यून आंटी हो, चाहे घर के काम वाले आंटी हो, उनको नाम से आप बोलोगे, उनको अच्छा लगेगा. फिर आप भले आगे आंटी अंकल जोड़ो. Number 2, in an open day when students come to your classroom, the teacher should call the child by the name and not by the roll number. When you're comparing, when you're introducing a speaker or you're going to tell some, please check that you know the name rightly and able to pronounce it rightly. Practice it once before you introduce a speaker. And lastly, things even in during online classes or in meetings, when people tell your name, if you wish, repeat it twicely, ask second time when you get introduced, and then when you say it again, ensure that you say it rightly. So this was the sixth principle of the first card, which says that, look here, right? It says, remember that a man's name to him is the sweetest and the most important sound in any language. Thank you so much. फिर मिलेंगे अगले हफ्ते, next week, with rule number 7, principle number 7 of card number 1. Until then, SKC Pranam.